Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to Fearless Generations with Terry Sayer and Kelly Fox.
Hello and welcome to Fearless Generations 12 Steps to Freedom. This is Kelly Fox, and we are excited to continue along the path of Step 7, Surrender. And tonight we're going to be talking about humbled. And I'm super excited to get on this topic. But first, let me introduce my beautiful co-host, Terry Sayer. How are you doing tonight, Terry?
I'm doing well, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Well, it is a pleasure to do this with you. We have an awesome guest coach on the show tonight. She has been with us before, and we are so honored to have her back. Please welcome Stephanie Schoolmeester.
Yay!
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here. I just love you both.
No, we love you too. Stephanie, please remind our audience, what is it that you get to do and who is it that you get to serve?
I love that question, that you get to do, and it's so true. So I am a soul alignment specialist. So what I do is I help women really tap into their soul's calling. What are they here for in this world to really put out there in their visions and really step into that purpose, power, and ultimate possibilities. So I work with women that are mostly entrepreneurs, but I also do energetic work and really can do some really deep healing and help clear the blocks so we really can match that vibration, that energy to the dream in their heart so they can really step into their fullness and their purpose in life.
Love that. Love that. And it definitely shines through you just glow and ooze love. So I'm excited to have you on the show tonight.
I'm really excited to be here. And, Kelly, I just want to mention one other thing. As I was thinking about this topic, one other thing I really do with women is help them find that, that to surrender into that and to find their flow. And, I used to be such a workaholic and someone that was, worked for their worth and all the things and just kept driving myself. And now, this is why I love this subject so well that we're talking about tonight, because it's truly what I've done for the last 5 years as I stepped into my purpose, is to surrender into that. And now I help others do the same.
I love that. And that brings us into such a great segue of, what does surrender mean to you?
Yeah, it's such a great question. To be honest with you, I feel like I have to do the polarity of that. So the way I used to live my life was like full control, had to do everything myself. And when I really came up against, it wasn't working for me. And I really just had to, and I have a belief in God, and I just, want to just put that out there, whatever your belief is and that higher spirit. I got to a point where I get very guided, and I heard there was more for me. And I was like, what is this more? And I had to surrender to that. I literally just had to give up all the control that I had and just say, whatever it is I'm meant to do, I'm ready to step into that. And so that to me is like a full embodiment of surrender, because I didn't know what was on the other side of that. And I as I'm talking, you can't see this, but I have tears in my eyes because it has been such an incredible spiritual journey. And I've learned so much in the process.
Yeah. Yeah. We were talking before we came on, Stephanie and I, about how I think that surrender is so misunderstood. That is such it's such a powerful step to take, to really release that illusion that you have control and let your higher power, the universe, whatever you call it, to guide you and to hold you in what your process is, and to allow what is to be.
Mhm. It's so true.
So tonight we're talking about things. Yes. Tonight we're talking about humbled. So how does that come in for you in correlation with surrender?
Another great question. I just love that you're doing humility. You know, I will share in what a client said to me the other day, because somebody was, put out there like, who is the best healer that they know? And somebody put my name in that. And I just sat there and I was like, wait a minute, I do healing work, but I'm confident in the work I do. But the humility is that I don't see it as me. I see it as I am a vessel. I am, again, like listening to that higher power, that source within me. So I am very much in that surrender mode at all times when I'm doing my work. Therefore, I don't see it as it's me doing the work. I am just that clear channel listening and guiding through that. And so I really think, too, is when I look at some just different examples in the world, we've got this, you can be really confident, and I think confidence is good, but you can also be arrogant. And I think having that confidence and that humility, saying, this is like, you're really about helping the other person. And it really, what it comes down to for me is servant leadership. Like, I'm that vessel. I don't see it as me. I see it as I'm, again, just a guide. And I am really there to step up and serve from my soul. So that to me is like the full humility, because I take myself out of it. It's not about me. It's about what I can do for others in this world and help them shine their light by me standing in that truth in my light. So that's really where I land with that humility. And I think it's such a great thing to really dive into in surrender.
Yeah. I see it as letting go of the notion that I know better. And saying, you know what? Okay, I'll listen, I'll follow, and I'll lead as well, but as I follow. So I think that is a huge aspect. I mean, for me as a mom, I'm humbled every day with my children, and I think that it's good to get that healthy, look at ourselves and say, okay, is there somewhere I can improve? Is there somewhere I can listen better? Is there somewhere that, I might be overlooking? And allow yourself to not always know best or not always know, and allow yourself to step into that unknown and, be comfortable with the uncomfortable.
I love that. And I love that, Kelly. And I think, too, is that, like you mentioned, having that awareness, my strengths and my weaknesses, and also being a student. Like, I've been a teacher for 22 years. I've been a trainer. But what I love about my, one of the qualities that I really love is that I'm a student. I say every single day, I'm showing up to learn. And I think when we stop showing up to learn and to be a student and just be like just a sponge in this world, then, we're done in life. If we think we know everything, like, who wants to be around someone that thinks they know everything? It's like we're always constantly learning and evolving. And that's what I think really what it comes down to is humility, and also elevating others. Really seeing the gifts in others and having that elevation. And again, and not putting yourself as that person that's going out there, that you are doing it to help spread light and love into the world, from that servant leadership aspect.
Yeah, absolutely. Terry, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I look at humility as being teachable. And I think that coincides with, it's not me. It's, for me, it's, I feel like I'm a vessel that God through. But if I'm not teachable, then I'm still, because when I surrender, when I first really understood the principle of surrender and began to practice it in my life, I didn't really surrender because as soon as things got better, okay, things are better. Let's put them back to the way they were. And that's, that's not surrendering. That's still trying to control, right? I'll surrender. Maybe things will get better or whatever. And so I think it's a matter of being teachable, that's being humble, whether it's teachable by others, because there's so many people around me that I can learn from if I'm willing to be teachable. And so I look at the concept of humility as one of being willing to be open and be teachable. And I just always like that description. And to me, it resonates. And so that's when I think of humility, I think of being teachable. And so to me, that's being open, ready to learn, because that's my passion, is learning. And if I can remain in that place, being open and teachable, then I'm going to be able to be the person I was created to be. Because you never, teaching moments are going to come, right? those learning moments. And if you're willing to be teachable, then you're willing to be open and humble and willing. So that's kind of the way I define humility, as being teachable.
Yeah.
You're so wise, Terry.
Yeah. So, Stephanie, when you're supporting your clients, is there a tool or a process that you take them through to help them with this concept, with surrendering, with being humble?
Yes, there's a lot of tools that I use, and really what it comes down to, I believe, is getting still. And, we all have different ways of doing that. For me, because I teach energy and breath work, I believe breath is the bridge to your soul. And so I love to do breath work for myself, and I share that with my clients. So the tool that I use most of the time is I just put two hands on my heart, like in the midline, and close my eyes, and I just take 3 to 5 deep breaths in through my nose and out through my mouth. And as I do that, I allow myself to think, what am I wanting to breathe in? What do I need right now to let myself let go even more and drop into that present place? And as my exhale, what do I need to let go of so I can surrender, so I can really be humble? And I just allow the breath to move. And when, it's interesting, when I did really surrendered and I got really like the download, what I needed to do in order, like that's how I started my business 5 years, is literally surrendering everything. I did a breathing practice, and then I went out in nature. And I share that with my clients often, get out in nature. Nature can teach us. Talk about, Terry, like teachable. Nature can teach us so much. I look for signs. I look for different things, when I'm surrendering. Where are the signs? Where do I know that I'm on the right path? Like I mentioned, I pray a lot. And again, whatever your belief is, my highest recommendation is to ask for help. Ask for help from that higher source, whatever that is for you. I just say, I need help. I need to know my next step, and I'm willing to surrender everything to find it. And really, and I love what you said, Terry, really surrender. Don't have that agenda. Well, if it goes this way, I'm gonna pull this card. When I went into this, I said, I will do whatever I'm asked to do. And it still makes me cry when I say it, because I knew I would. And that's where the gifts come from. And so it's like having that surrender, but really fully be willing to do it. Ask for help. Do some practices that are going to ground you. And like I said, my thing is going out in nature and just be and see what comes through. And it might not come through at that very moment. And I think the more, there was a poem, I swear, I needed to learn this when I was a little girl. And I had it up in my bathroom, and it says, it was a picture of a sand. And it says, the tighter you hold on to the sand, the faster it will run through your fingers. And I remember looking at that as a little girl, and still to this day, I'm like, okay, you have to let go. You have to let it run through your fingers. Whatever comes through is for you, and to truly feel and know that life is working for you. When you surrender and let yourself just lean into that, and I see it as a river. Jump in the river, go down the river, and think about you're going to have an adventure of your lifetime, and trust the process. And it will come not the right time. I call it soul's timing, in your soul's timing when it's supposed to come. So I know that's not like specific, but I don't think, honestly, the more I do this with surrender, I don't think you have to trust the process, the journey. It's a journey, right? Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think breathing is, or breath work is so important. And it's a form of meditation, and I think that it's important that we understand that there's so many different kinds of meditation, that it doesn't have to be what you would typically think of when you think of meditation. And I definitely think that being out in nature and being present to that is a form of meditation. You know, when I go for a walk, I have a conversation with myself and my higher power, and that's my form of meditation. You know, and I think anytime we can really just be quiet and still, and listen to what our soul or our spirit is trying to share with us, the better it can be.
Exactly. I mean, the whispers are there. It's we need to quiet our mind in whatever way that is for you. And so I would just say, I invite, you know, whoever's listening, ask yourself what helps you get quiet, what helps you get still, and then listen to the whispers, because those whispers have most likely been trying to whisper to you for a long time. So when we get quiet, we can hear the whispers, we can see the whispers, we can see the guidance. And it's just so beautiful. It's a beautiful way of living. I never even knew it existed until I actually surrendered. And now that I live life like this, and it's the only way I live, I can't imagine life any other way. I just can't. And I just will never live another way, because it's such a beautiful way of being.
Yeah. Absolutely. Terry, what do you think is the most important thing you would want our listeners to take away with them tonight on this subject?
Well, I feel like surrendering it's layered. You know, it's not something that you can accomplish with a single tool, like Stephanie was saying. It's something that you grow into. It's something that you create within your communication with your higher power, whatever that is. For me, it's God. I'm a God girl. So my communication with my Heavenly Father increases my capacity to surrender, my willingness to let go of, you know, something and be consciously aware of what that allows me to then receive, helps me to go deeper into my willingness to surrender. So it's like it's a process. I think somebody said the process. It's a process of being that person, that soul, well, altogether our spirit and our body, the soul that can and will listen, be obedient to those thoughts and promptings, follow through. Obedience is a word I like. It's not a word everybody likes. So listen and follow through is another way of saying that. Taking action, and each time I do that, I become more certain of my path, and that my path is a partnership with God, and that as I surrender my will to His will, and I do that consciously and willingly, that I become more and more able to continue to do that. It's like I feel like if I receive promptings and I ignore them and I don't take action, I don't listen, then that it takes longer for me to get back in that space again. So it's that consistency consistently being willing to let go, consistently trusting God, believing that it can be accomplished, that if you have enough faith, you can move mountains. And I don't mean literal mountains. You know, it's those challenges and opportunities that come up in our life. If we're faithful, if we're trusting, if we're willing to surrender to the will of our higher power and listen and follow that, then we become more able to do that. And so surrender grows as we become confident in our relationship with our higher power, and knowing that by following his will, it is for our best good. And whether it's in the middle of chaos, it's in the middle of struggle, it's in the middle of grief, it's in the middle of depression, whatever the feeling that we're experiencing and letting go of in order to connect with God, we just continue to be more and more able to surrender. And that's where that peace and grace becomes a part of our being, and we can move forward. Now, that doesn't mean we hit a block or we hit a wall and we start over again and we go through that process in this situation, because every time we have that opportunity to grow, there's some growing pain, right? There's some surrendering again. There's willing to let go. There's maybe that perfectionism crops up again and gets in your way, or that stubbornness or whatever it is that doesn't allow you to fully surrender. And every time we go through that process in a new situation, in a new relationship, we become more and more competent and more willing to live in that state of surrender. And so it's really a lifetime process. And I think it's a very fulfilling process and a very spiritual process. And so it's something that I embrace.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Stephanie, we want to definitely give you time to share with the audience, how they can get a hold of you, if there's anything coming up that they can take advantage of. And so this would be a great time for you to share that.
Okay, great. I just want to first say, listening to both of you, it's just my cheeks hurt because I'm smiling so much you can't see it. But there's just so much wisdom that you share, and that's why I just love being on here with you and just love knowing you. So I just really wanted to give you gratitude for just having me on here and being in my life, and for what you both do in the world. I really see it and recognize it. So thank you. I would love to share what I have coming up. There's some exciting things. I have a high vibe sisterhood tribe where I lead women teaching these practices that help them surrender, help them really, again, come into their knowing and their power and lead from the heart, which is our number one superpower, and it's what helps us surrender and to really trust. So that is something I have available online. We meet 2 times up to 4 times a month. So if you want to learn more about that, I will give you a number just to text, High Vibe Sisterhood Tribe, and then I can know to send you some information. And that number is 970-724-4448. And there is one more thing that I just want to share because it's also really near and dear to my heart. I have partnered with a company that is really about self-care and self-love, and they are about ready to have their biggest annual sale of the year. It's a BOGO sale on Thursday. So if you're interested in learning more about how to find calm in the chaos, because that's my specialty is helping with the breath and the energy, but I also take products to help me, and that's hemp and CBD and some other things as well. So if you're interested in that, it's the same number I just gave, and you just would need to type in the word VIP, and I'll put you on my VIP list, and I'll send you out all the information so you can get into that BOGO sale. And again, that's 970-724-4448. And if anything resonates that I shared and you just want to have a conversation, just reach out, same number, and just say, let's chat. I'd love to have a conversation with you and dive deeper. I always say I'm a mermaid. I love to dive deep. So if you want to have a deep conversation like what we were doing tonight, I'm all about it and love to serve in any way that I can.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And please
thank you.
Put that information in our Facebook group and on our Facebook page so that our listeners can have easy access to you.
Awesome. I sure will.
Now, my question for you is the same for Terry. What is that one thing you would want our listeners to walk away with tonight about surrender?
The one thing. Terry, can you go first? I need to think about the one thing. Oh, that's true. Okay. The one thing. I think the one thing would be to really trust. To trust in knowing that my favorite thing I tell myself over and over, life is working for you, Stephanie. And I just want to mention this, and without going into my story, we've all have our stories. I've gone through the stress, the trauma, the loss. I know your story as well. We've gone through the dark times to come out in the other side in the light. And when I look at my past, and I used to think I was a victim and all the things, and I see, oh my gosh, life is working for me. That's how I got to give so much light out in the world today. So if we can see and we can believe and we can have that trust that life is working for us, then we start seeing the miracles and the gifts every single day. We start seeing that we can lean in and we can trust. So if we believe, we can see both, anything we want to see, right? You can see the victim, you can see the negative, or you can see the love and the light in the miracles. So believe in that and trust and start looking for that. And when you look for it, I promise you can find it. And the last thing, gratitude. Live in gratitude. That will help you stay in the present, and that will help you just see and feel all the things that are working for you in your highest good.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, for me, I think just knowing that it is possible. It is possible for you to surrender, for you to find that peace, to find that joy in knowing that someone is there for you, guiding you, leading you on a path that is for your best good, and that if you can surrender, and that's a moment-by-moment choice sometimes. If you can surrender to that, your life is going to be more beautiful and joyous than you can currently imagine. Because for me, my Heavenly Father, you, universe, spirit, whatever you want to call it, it wants your good. It wants so much for you. And if you're willing to allow it to show you how to get there, it will. And, I want all of our listeners to have that knowing, to have that, or at least that hope that they can have that as well. Thank you, Stephanie, so much for being here. We are so happy to have you. And we'd love to have you back again. I know our listeners gain so much from you being here with us.
Thank you. It was such a joy and honor to be here.
Thank you. So we want to remind you all that the 12 Steps to Freedom were created by Rhonda Britton, the CEO and founder of the Fearless Living Institute. And if you would like to know more about Fearless Living, please go check it out at fearlessliving.org. You can find out everything about Terry and I at fearlessgenerations.org. And we would love for you to go over to the website and look at all of the things that we have there. There's all of the last 9 years of podcast episodes available. There's information about some of our past guests, Stephanie being one of them. And there's all the information of what we have available for you right now to support you in being more fearless. So please go over there, check it out. We have 2 workshops every month. One is completely free. One is very reasonably priced, and we definitely want to share this information with all of you so that you can be more fearless too. So we thank you all so much for being here with us and being here with us every week. Until next time, everybody, be fearless.
Be fearless. Thank you, Stephanie.
Thank you. Bye-bye.